Okay, everyone, let's take a seat and let's get the show on the road. And we're going to have Richard Stanford come up here and do our invocation and our pledge.
I'll write down any concerns here. All right. Do we have concerns that we need to talk about? Anybody have a concern to raise? Well, that's great. Okay, no concerns. Okay, let's pray then. Father, thank you for the gift of community. You made us that way. We learn from each other. We console and lift up each other. We were made for relationship. You give us families. You give us church communities. You give us Rotary. Places where together we prosper and grow and help each other along. Community is such a gift, and sometimes, Father, we fail to acknowledge that great gift that you have given us. Thank you also that for all of us who live in the city of Dallas, we are made fruitful in our lives by being in a vibrant community. We also know you challenge us because there are those who lead hard lives on the edge of this community. And you give us the opportunity to be part of the work to deal with those who need that. And that is your gift to us. So for all those gifts, the gift to serve others, the gift of friendship and relationship, we give you thanks because we know it all comes from you. We pray all of this in your name. Amen. Now, place your hand on your heart. We will say the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our anthem.
And now, if anyone could raise their hand if they want to provide their happy bucks, Richard will come by and take your contribution. Anyone for happy bucks?
Oh, Trish, okay.
Hello, Tricia. I'm so glad to be back here today. I ate my way through August through Restaurant Week, so it is great to be here. Just a few things I'd like to say. If you have not been downstairs to the construction display, just know that all those architects that are here at North Park, I'm going to go down and look at them right after the meeting today, but they're only going to be there for 2 more days. So these are architect firms that all that food that you see that are made into these beautiful sculptures gets donated to the North Texas Food Bank. So we're very grateful for that. Grateful to have Gina here today to talk to us about the State Fair. We have had a multiple year long-term relationship with the State Fair. No, on Wednesdays when you come, if you bring the canned food, you get discounted tickets, and on Fridays, if you the opening day, the water, you get a discounted ticket in there as well, and that comes to the North Texas Food Bank as well. And we're excited. I told Susan we're excited to have our volunteer day for the North Texas Food Bank for the Park City October 14th. Park City Rotary is volunteering with the North Texas Food Bank. So lots to be happy about today.
Thanks, Tricia.
So I witnessed the debacle that was happening in Arlington thanks to the Houston Astros over the last few days, and I'm just really happy that Oakland's in town now.
Any others? Now we'll introduce guest. We have guest. Jim?
Let's see, we'll start with Jim. Hey.
Stand up. Yes, I have Batul Atara. She is my guest today. We both work together at the bank, at WaFd Bank, and this is a great program. She has been in the United States maybe a year. She was actually in a Rotary club in Lebanon, and so I figured this would be a good program, Introduction to Texas with the State Fair program. So please welcome Atara.
Welcome.
So I have a dear friend with me, Carol Kibberts. She's a former client in Fort Worth, and she's a former Fort Worth Rotarian. I sponsored her in Fort Worth. She lives in Dallas, so excited to have her here. She's a senior HR executive in transition, so just say a little bit.
No. I won't give you my elevator pitch. I'm just delighted. I was telling Susan I miss Fort Worth Rotary. She said, come to my club. You'll love the people. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
I'm Roy Jones from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and I'm here, among other things, to exchange a banner.
Yeah, Roy, come on up there real quick. Cape Girardeau. I know that
Our
place
club
well.
just, in 1919, celebrated its 100th anniversary, and so this banner celebrates that.
Thank you. Here's our banner.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
you.
Yeah. Hey, Roy. You get a pic. They're going to take a picture. Yes.
Very good.
I'll let you introduce you.
Okay, Casey Lambert with Kids U.
I'd also like to kind of give an update to Alan Wynn. So Alan is doing better. I went and visited him about 10 days ago. Oh, another guest? I'm sorry. One more guest. Okay.
And
Oh, we have more. Okay.
we got a lot. We'll start
A lot
with
of guests.
Casey
That's
Lambert. Casey is here from Arizona, now in Dallas. Say something about yourself.
Okay, Casey Lambert. I'm from Yuma, Arizona. I was in the Yuma Rotary. So I'm new to Dallas within the last 3 months. So I have my first interview for this Rotary today. So, yay. Yeah, thank you.
I'm working my way over. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rashid Mamoon. I'm from Bangladesh, Rotary Club of Baridhara, Dhaka, Bangladesh. So I'm visiting here. Now I moved to Dallas like 2 years ago. So yeah, that's it.
Glad
Welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, my name's David Hairston, and I've been in Dallas all my life. My father was partners with Miss Hargrave's husband, and I'm in the business of being a change agent for companies that are moving through their cloud journey. And thrilled to be here. It's I've heard so many wonderful things about this club, and look forward to learning more.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello, Daniel Voigt. I work with Comerica Bank, and I'm here to introduce my wife, Paige Voigt, as a guest with us. And she's a mother of 2 and does a great job with it.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, hey, Ann, I'll get to you. Hand this over to Ann, Janie.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Trey Fife. Trey and I both serve on the board of the Navy League of the United States, the Dallas Council, and he does a lot of volunteer work, and I thought Rotary might be a pretty good fit. So, Trey.
Hi, it's nice to meet everyone. I am an attorney, but I'm only barred in Louisiana, so there's probably very little I could do for anyone in the room. as Ann said, I am learning a lot about the volunteer world in addition to the Navy League, a volunteer at the Military Order of the World Wars. And as most of you know, volunteering is great, except for you can't tell anyone to do anything. So you have to learn to be very, very persuasive or to just beg. But I'm looking forward to this, and thank you all very much for having me.
You got it?
Any others?
Yeah, Susan has something else.
If I had any cash with me, this would be a happy bucks, but this is a very interesting thing. My daughter has been dating this amazing man that I like. He just recently passed the big test because he said his uncle is a president of Nigeria and Rotary Club.
That's great.
Really?
That's great.
I think that's
Any others? Well, that's great. A lot of guests. That's wonderful. Speaking of guests, Alan Wynn, as I mentioned, I went and visited him recently. He's doing better, which is great. A lot of answered prayers. He still has a long way ahead of him, but hope to go see him again this next week. But he keeps giving me the thumbs up when I'm texting him just during the week. But he is doing better. He has, again, he has some kidney issues post-surgery, but just keep him in your prayers. And with that, we'll have Sean Foster come up and speak to our marketplace advertiser.
I would say the health of a club is represented by the number of guests we have today. That is terrific. I'm here to introduce our advertiser. We're supported by these ads, and there is room for next year. So I would encourage you to consider that. Talk to, I guess, Mark Neese or Mark Casher. Still room for this year. But today's advertiser is Vista Bank. And is Scott McNaughton here? He may not be here, but he doesn't like recognition anyway. So there's a video that we're going to show.
Our grandparents weren't the greatest generation because they had it easy. They were the greatest generation because they had it really hard. Adversity pushes us beyond what we think we're capable of, to what we're meant to become. So here's to the last century, all that we faced and accomplished together, from the first car to electric cars, telegraphs to cell phones, the inaugural Wright brothers flight to private space travel. America is marked by entrepreneurs who distorted reality and literally willed innovation to happen. Men and women risking their life savings and putting the world's largest economy on their shoulders time after time, creating jobs for their neighbors and building our local communities. We at Vista Bank are honored to serve these champions. So while markets fluctuate and 24/7 news cycles thrive on negativity, at Vista Bank, we're confident in our future because of our past. So here's to the last 100 years and the future we're building together. Vista Bank, people first since 1912.
Let's give Scott a round of applause.
Thank you, Sean. And now I'd like to have Eric HEITKAMP come up and introduce our new guest, new member of our club.
Thank you, President Jeff. I am honored today to introduce our newest member of the club, Daniel VOIGT. He comes to us from Phoenix, Arizona, was born there, attended Baylor University where he had received an MBA in finance and economics. His lovely wife, Paige, is here today, who introduced earlier. They have 2 young boys. They live here in Park Cities. He is a relationship manager with Comerica Bank and VP right here on the other side of Nordstrom's. And I mentioned the 2 kids. They go to Highland Park Presbyterian. And please help me welcome Daniel VOIGT.
And now, past President Jeff McNAUGHTON to come up and speak to the plethora of awards we won at the last district awards meeting.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, the district awards happened way up there in Plano. It was almost Oklahoma, it felt like. Anyway, we had a really nice attendance. I think we had about 15 from our club there. We did really well. We had 3 individual awards. Each year, the president selects the Star Award, and this year I selected Happy Franklin for all the things that she does for our club. The awards, individual awards that had to go through committee and all these people evaluating all that. New Rotarian of the Year for the Park Cities Club, Susan Glenn. We're so thankful for her stepping in last year and taking over for all the relationships with North Texas Food Banks. That's such an important relationship for us and all that we do. So really appreciate that. Also, Holly Hollenbeck won for Service Above Self. And that was really a large tribute to the new event that we had last year, the Foot Care Clinic for the Homeless. So a hand for Holly. So this award, Spirit of Cooperation Award, apparently we had some folks that helped out the Dallas Uptown Club for men who work, or not men who work, men who cook, and I was not a part of it, but anyway, we won an award for that. Now, if you notice, this is the award, right? So we don't have those big banners that are going to hang anymore. I have no idea what we're going to do with these yet. I'm going to let President Jeff figure this out. So I'm going to leave that right there for you, sir. Now, the one award that we have, and we repeated again, and we still have the big banner, is the Most Fun Club. So I don't know, maybe they'll bring that one back out. Club Service Award. This is really a really cool award because it involves everything that we do in the club, but it starts with the strategic plan and then action, taking the actions from that plan and putting them in place. And that is actually part of the deal for winning that award. But it also is everything that we do from all of our programs, fellowship events, and so on and so forth. So, Club Service Award. And this last one is one I'm most proud of. This really has to do with all that we do out in the community. It's a Community Service Award. So it's all the different things that we do with the North Texas Food Bank, the Foot Care Clinic, helping Scottish Rite Hospital, Salvation Army, and the list goes on the 4th of July parade. So this one I'm most proud of, and this is a testament to the club, this club, and all that we do. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jeff. And just to understand the context, there were a lot of clubs there are in our district, and we were top 2. And you probably know who our friendly nemesis is, but the Dallas club did very well too. But congratulations, because it was a fun event. A few announcements coming up. So Thursday the 28th, we have a Top Golf event for the club. So please sign up. It's $22 per person. And then speaking, as Jeff noted, with Holly receiving the award for her efforts with our Foot Care Clinic. Our second one, which will be an annual event, is coming up on Saturday the 30th. So please sign up if you would like to participate. And then on October 29th is the ADL, Anti-Defamation League walk that Mark Casher is spearheading with our club, and I've signed up. So if you'd like to participate in that, I don't think Mark's here, but if you'd like to participate in that, just please sign up. And then now we're going to draw for a raffle. And the raffle, what's the number we're at now? $2,097. Okay, $2,097. That's great. So Gina, we're going to have you draw Gina, the number. And again, if your number's drawn, you have the chance to pull a card out of the deck, and the deck keeps getting smaller. We're looking for the Ace of Spades. And the winning number is, last 4 numbers are 4033. Oh, a guess. Awesome. Woohoo. We have a winner. Now, to be a real winner, you have to pull the Ace of Spades out of this deck. But your odds get better. We're about halfway there, so pick a card. Oh. Nope. This is your prize, though. So next week, guys, we'll keep getting bigger, but we're over $2,000, which is wonderful. And now I'd like to call Paul Pyrock to introduce our guests.
Thank you, President Jeff. Since we've been having these beautiful, cool fall afternoons, everybody's thinking about our two favorite things in the fall, college football and the State Fair of Texas. You know, I have to tell you, when my kids were little, when they would say something wasn't fair, my answer was always, the fair runs for 3 weeks in the fall. They got really sick of hearing that. But, I mean, the State Fair is one of the great things about Texas, about one of the great things about Dallas. We are really thrilled to have Gina Norris with us here today. Gina is somebody that I've known for quite a while because our children were in the youth choir at Highland Park Methodist together and really formed a bond there. But Gina's been a very successful banker and real estate executive, both on the finance and investor relations side. But I think what people don't know about Gina is she grew up on a farm in Carlinville, Illinois, and she's very passionate about agriculture, 10-year 4-H. And more importantly, Gina was the very first female chairperson of the State Fair of Texas starting in 2019. So what I know about Gina is she is passionate about everything that she pursues, and the State Fair is certainly one of those things. So Gina, thank you for coming and speaking to us.
Hello, everybody. You know, I laughed when they elected me first woman to chair the board at the State Fair of Texas, and I said, what, did it take you that long to find the right dairy farmer's daughter? I was so thrilled, and I'll tell you, my 4-H leaders, my parents, they were just over the moon. I'm really happy to be here with you all because you're one of those great traditions, too, in my family. The 4th of July parade, it's just a joy, and we're there every year, and I think, and it's not lost on me that you're giving up time with your friends and family so that the rest of us can really have a wonderful time together as family. And thank you, it's a wonderful community event. The State Fair is like that. It's tradition, it's family, it's community, as you prayed this morning, Richard. It's really been one of those great experiences for me, but for so many of us, right? We all think about State Fair, and we know Big Tex is our mascot, right? He's our Mickey Mouse. He came around in the early 1950s. Let's see if that will, there we go. Early 50s, Mayor R.L. Thornton brought him over from Kern, Texas. He was a big Santa Claus. Plunked him down in the middle of the State Fair of Texas. We made him a cowboy. And this is how we all knew him on October 18th. I bet none of you are at a loss as to where you were on Friday morning, October 19th, 2012, when this happened. You know, texts weren't that big a thing yet for me, but my phone was blowing up on my hip that morning. It was just a day where we all realized after we were fine, you know, knew everybody was safe and fine, but we just realized this is a big symbol for us. It's a heart and soul symbol for the state of Texas, not just for the State Fair. And so we built Big Tex back up and really thought since that time, 2013, about doubling down on our role here in the community and our role here in the State Fair of Texas in terms of community impact and giving back. Our mission is pretty straightforward. The State Fair of Texas celebrates all things Texan by promoting 3 things: agriculture, education, community involvement, with quality entertainment, and most importantly, a family-friendly environment. Our biggest fundraiser, 24 days, State Fair of Texas, we think of that as our biggest fundraiser. We're a big nonprofit, and that is when we're making most of our money. We saw in 2020 that it doesn't always work out that way, and we're an independent nonprofit. We do keep cash reserves there to try to, now we know exactly what it costs for us to limp through 18 months to get to the next fair and the fundraiser. So in some ways, we learned a lot. Let's see. The State Fair and Fair Park have always been linked, and it can be confusing. The State Fair was established in 1886. It is as old as Coca-Cola. 1886. It's always been on that fairgrounds, and that fairgrounds now is called Fair Park. It's 277 acres. It's owned by the city of Dallas. And when we think about the State Fair and Fair Park, we can probably think about it in the same way as North Park, where we are today. Because North Park, we all know the Nashers developed North Park, and they still own a majority of the business. Our beloved Neiman Marcus, most of us women here today will call it beloved, but our beloved Neiman Marcus, based here in Dallas, Texas, is a major tenant at North Park, and likewise the State Fair of Texas is a major tenant at Fair Park. Fair Park is managed by an entity called Fair Park First. It's a nonprofit that the city engaged to run the Fair Park entity and all the groups in it for the next 30 years. But Fair Park, even during State Fair setup, and we start setting up for the fair on August 1st every year, but even as recently as last week, there was a concert in the Cotton Bowl with 70,000 people. Somebody said, who was it? Because, of course, I didn't hear about the concert. An artist named Carol G. Okay, there you go. Somebody knew this. 70,000 people in the Cotton Bowl. It can house 93,000 during a major event, but they had 70,000 people in the Cotton Bowl last week. So a lot of things happen at Fair Park, even when we're setting up and when we're taking down each year for our 24-day event. I mentioned State Fair is a private nonprofit. We are not funded by state dollars. We're not a Department of Texas per se. We are independent. We have an agreement with the city to be there through 2037 after the bicentennial. And that agreement requires us to pay rent. And we paid this past year $1.55 million. The city is required to leave those funds with Fair Park First to operate Fair Park. It's not put back into streets and sidewalks. It's only put and kept at Fair Park. The other thing that we contract and we do, we have 2,300 seasonal employees. We pay them a living wage. The minimum wage for our seasonal employees starts this year at $17.82. So it is a really great seasonal job to have, and thank you. And when you meet people and you're in the coupon, any kind of line and you're meeting our seasonal employees, ask them how long they've worked there. A lot of them, this is what they love doing, and they come back year after year. It's a lot of fun to have them. The State Fair is governed by a formal board and bylaws. Our bylaws were revised in 2016. You can find our bylaws on our website, bigtex.com. But bigtex.com, when you go to that site, you can see our annual report, you can see our audited financial statements, our bylaws are there, our board ethics statement is there. Our board is not very complicated. We have 20 voting members on our board. We have an advisory board that has an unlimited number. There are probably about 60 people on it currently. They meet twice a year. The board itself meets 4 times a year. We have formal committees that also meet at least quarterly. We have really active committees on our board. Those committees, for example, set policy and strategy. The scholarship committee recently, which is actually Daniel, the scholarship committee is chaired by Brian Foley at Comerica Bank. He joined the board 2 years ago, but one of the things that he implemented was adding trade schools to the list of schools that we support through our scholarships. Likewise, we changed the name of our scholarships for here in Dallas to the Juanita Craft Scholarship Program to honor the civil rights icon, Juanita Craft. Juanita Craft was responsible in 1955 through her patience through 1961 in desegregating the State Fair of Texas. And so we honor her, and we are an inclusive place, and we wanted to honor her with that change. Concessions Committee, they've been all about diversifying the vendor group. Richard mentioned this morning in the Dallas Morning News Metro section, there's a long article about some new vendors, food vendors, Japanese food vendor this year. We've been going out into the community and asking people to apply. We also do a program called Big Tech's Masterclass, where we take minority-run firms who want to get into the fairs and expo business, and we teach them the business. And this year, 2 of our vendors are actually graduates of that program. Governance and nominations, we're really proud of what we've done when we look for people with good skill sets, diversity, You know, Sarah, all farm girls should apply, please. But, you know, we need more women. We're about 35% women on the State Fair board, but we have great cultural diversity on that board, and all of those numbers are in our annual report. They're very finitely presented, so you can see where we've come at the State Fair of Texas. Our attendance last year, 2.5 million people came over 24 days. So do the math. We like to say that hosting the State Fair of Texas is like hosting one Super Bowl a day for 24 consecutive days. We don't exactly, I mean, I'm not aware that we've had any babies in the parking lot, but it gets pretty exciting over there. All right, we're going to do 4 trivia questions. The first 2 are warm-ups, and the last 2 I've got prizes, okay? So, first trivia question. What was the name of the wooden roller coaster on the Midway from 1947 to 1989? I see in cobwebs. Who's got it? It is the Comet. Good job. It is the Comet. Wow. That's good. That's the warm-up. You're gonna do well, I think. Let's see. I'm not. It's okay. I said that we're focusing on our nonprofit mission. We've spent the last 10 years reorienting this. It is really it's hard to overcome all the excitement about corny dogs. So that people know that when they come to the State Fair that we're going to put your funds back out into the community. But that's what we intend to do. We're just going to keep giving you the message. And you'll see more and more of that in the signage around the State Fair's grounds. When you walk around the grounds, I hope you'll start noticing some of the decor changes. First of all, we have a lot more green spaces, a lot more soft areas to sit down and enjoy yourself. Just enjoy who you came with. Spend a couple extra hours there later because you've got your energy back. But that's one of the things we've done, and we call it the Texification of Fair Park. Lots of banners, especially on Nimitz Boulevard, great lighting. If you've never come to the fair at night, you're just really missing out. It's fabulous. Including the lighting on the front of the Hall of State. We've relit the Hall of State, the city of Dallas has, in the same way that it was lit during the Texas Centennial in 1936. It's fabulous. We are just have applied to trademark that phrase. We intend to be the most Texan place on earth. And you're going to see signage and you're going to hear that a lot over the next 10 years. So 3 pillars of our nonprofit mission: agriculture, education, community involvement, and really the communication that we want to be considered one of the most impactful nonprofits in North Texas. And we want you to be proud of that as Texans. Our giving last year was nearly $19 million. That is just the cash giving that we did from the proceeds from the 2022 State Fair of Texas. It includes $4 million, scholarships is almost 1.3. We had $2 million we gave to the 4-H and FFA kids at the Youth Livestock Auction. We gave away grants and scholarships of almost $700,000. We give to the city last year almost $9 million for the preservation of the buildings at Fair Park. If you're not from Dallas, Fair Park, it was all built in 1936, and it's still the largest collection of Art Deco buildings in the world. So it's pretty special, and it's historically protected. Can't see the next number there. Sorry. But, we've got, it's rent. We paid $1.5 million of rent last year. It'll go to 1.7 this year. The city is required to leave those funds at Fair Park for Fair Park operations, and it's administered by that nonprofit I mentioned, our landlord, Fair Park First. And then lastly, we spent just over $4 million on things at Fair Park that benefit the State Fair and State Fair operations. I mean, you think about, I know we use that antiquated coupon system, but if we ever want data, there's just not enough fiber laid in that old space to make it happen. But each year we're investing in more and more fiber and data there at Fair Park. It's a big number for us. Economic impact is huge. We haven't done a study in 5 years. The last one was $500 million in total economic impact from our 24-day event. It is an event that employs 7,000 people. So across all the vendors and everybody that's there, it's over 7,000 people. The State Fair has 63 full-time employees. We have 2,300 people we hire seasonally that we talked about earlier. It's a big number. 22% of the people who come to the fair are not from this 13-county area. They're coming into the area. They're usually spending the night. They spend somewhere around $60 million not at Fair Park when they come into our region for the State Fair of Texas. A few years ago, I was at the opening day parade, and this young couple were real excited. It was when we were still having it downtown. They'd just flown in on Southwest Airlines for Tampa, Florida. And they were telling me, yeah, we just came for the weekend. We've read about this fair, and we're so excited. Well, you know, they hit the mother load. I gave them free T-shirts and a couple, like, here are your tickets. And anyway, it was welcome to Dallas, which we do so well here in Texas, don't we? It's fun. State Fair Trivia. This is practice again. It came back in 2021. What was the national sport that we hosted in 1959? I'll give you a hint. It was the reason why the city built the Coliseum. Here's another hint. Can anybody make out what that is? Yeah. The National Finals Rodeo. You know that big event that occurs in Las Vegas now every year in December? That was here in Dallas, Texas. That's why we built the Coliseum, and we lost it within 2 years to Las Vegas. So yeah, working on it, rodeo. So the three-part mission, I'll just briefly go through these three things and what we're doing. Thank you. Ag programs, I mentioned the youth livestock auction. Kids from across the state come into Dallas the first week of the fair. They're bringing their market animals, which in ag terms means these are animals that are raised to go to market, to become meat. And so they're bringing them to the fair. These are 4-H and FFA kids. The top 450 earn a spot in the youth livestock auction. There are a bunch of us here in town who volunteer to raise money, about $2 million last year and again this year. And we pay those kids for their animals, but we make it a big deal, and it's really part of their world. It's kind of the grand slam. They all want to get to the state fair and win in their category and earn a spot in that auction. They get paid for their animal, and they also may earn a fabulous State Fair of Texas belt buckle. But that you know, Houston, Fort Worth, maybe San Antonio, and then the State Fair. It's the grand slam of youth livestock shows, so it's pretty exciting. This is a fun fact, the top 10 people for raising money at the youth livestock auction for the kids earns a pair of State Fair of Texas custom boots. And if you want to come up later, I'm wearing mine today, so you got to come and see what they make for us. Again, the State Fair underwrites the full cost of all this. Every dollar we raise goes straight to the kids. The State Fair covers all of it. Out of the, you know, if you're a sucker enough to spend money on the Midway, then that's how we're making it. Lots of things we think about bringing the city mice in to meet the country mice. And so we've got lots of agriculture things all around the fair. It's not just in the livestock section. My favorite thing is the livestock birthing barn. You've seen it. So for all ages, you all, at the location that used to be the house for the Children's Medical Center Petting Zoo, we now have everything from chicks, sheep, goats, pigs, Jersey cows. And they are all brought in that 24 days, and they are all ready to have their babies. And so we have a lot of people who are out online saying, oh my gosh, I saw a calf born today. If this is on your bucket list, if you give me your text and you tell me what you want, if I'm down there and I know about it, I will tell you, you get yourself down here right now. Because, I mean, I grew up with Holsteins, and they take a good, 18 hours to have their calf. They ruin every Christmas Eve, every New Year's Eve, every birthday. You know this, Sarah. But Jersey cows, man, they go into labor, and they drop that calf in about 4 hours. So hustle. Our Big Tech Scholarship Program, we started in '92. We've given away $16 million in scholarships. There are 500 people right now in Texas schools that are on State Fair scholarships. And you know, it goes back long enough now that we have some DISD principals and assistant principals who were our scholars. It's just really wonderful to meet these young people who changed their lives. It's pretty fun. The scholarships go to the graduates of our 6 immediate Fair Park area high schools, about 100 a year, and the other 100 go to kids who have shown at the State Fair who are going to study ag in a school in Texas. So the ag piece, it's very specific. They need to be pursuing an ag degree, and the kids at DISD schools are able to use it for trade school or for colleges in Texas. Community involvement. We added this to a platform in 2014. We hired full-time people in 2016 to really lift the program up and give us direction. We have now, just since 2016, spent $3.6 million in grants and sponsorships for the nonprofits in our surrounding neighborhood. So, you know, I like to say we want to be a good neighbor, not a big neighbor. The State Fair for a long time was just a big neighbor. And so we do a lot of programming to help people leverage off the efforts of each other and to know each other and really knit together as a community to make a difference. Big Tech's Urban Farms is really one of these highlights that you can go see at the fair this year. Big Tech's Urban Farms, we opened in 2016. It is a greenhouse operation that produces fresh produce, which we provide year-round to the nonprofits in our immediate neighborhood for food. You know, where they have institutional kitchens. Everybody from Bonton Farm to City Square Cafe and beyond, there are 8 of them that get fresh produce from us every week, several times a week. We just produced our 1 millionth serving of fresh produce. So you can go see this. It's on the Midway. It's a big greenhouse. It's air conditioned, sort of. But it is a big glass house, and it's mainly a hydroponics operation now. But you go in there between the carousel and the Ferris wheel, the Texas Star, you will find the Midway. Go on in there. The team that runs that operation is in there. They'll answer great questions. And you will see the biggest cucumbers you can imagine on vines up to the ceiling. It is just humiliating if you have a community garden. All right, this trivia question is for a brand new red Big Tech's hat. Okay. Which Elvis-inspired item was introduced in our first Big Tech's Choice Awards? If you can imagine, this was 2005. We've been doing this. Oh, I've already got it. Pardon me? Oh, no, this is a food item. Big Tech's Choice Award. Daniel? Not fried bacon. Tricia? That's so close, I'm giving you the hat. PBJ, you forgot the jelly. Here's your hat. Yeah. Good job, Tricia. Oh, that's so great. All right. So let's talk about this year, the 2023 theme, Explore the Midway. It's all of the fun things on the Midway. If you guys have never seen the Midway Barker, don't miss this guy. He's on the Cotton Bowl Plaza as you're walking into the Midway. I just found him about 3 years ago. But he is hilarious. He's got a show at certain times. He pulls back the curtain and he just starts to, he does friendly insulting of the crowd. And there's an optical illusion there for you to try to figure out. So that's what I'm going to say. But he's on the deal. We show this on a black background because, again, the State Fair at night is so much fun. We just wanted to highlight the nighttime. Midway Entertainment. I was just telling Paige this morning that I used to tell my kids, okay, 1 ride, 1 game, then we're going to see the free State Fair of Texas. And I still highly recommend that, but the Midway is one of the best Midways we think in the country. High regard for safety on that Midway, and I can talk to any of you later about some of our safety programs. But The Midway's 74 rides. It is 69 games this year. These are all independent contractors, with the exception of 5 rides, which the State Fair owns. I can't name them all, but the Skyway is ours. The Top of Texas Tower is ours. The pirate ship is ours, as obnoxious as that thing is. That, actually, the Texas Star is not owned by the State Fair of Texas. The Texas Star is owned by a woman, and her name is Mary Talley, and she's with Talley Enterprises. She lives in Fort Worth. Mary Talley came to the State Fair over 20 years ago and said, my uncle is planning to sell the Texas Star. Her father had died. Her uncle and her mother were in business together. She said, my uncle has a term sheet to sell the Texas Star to Six Flags in Arlington. And I do not want this sold out of my family, and I don't want this to go to Arlington. I'm like, Katie, bar the door. So the State Fair cut a special deal with her, and we helped her get financing, and she bought that thing from her uncle. And yeah, so there it sits at the State Fair. She's got it still, we take a smaller portion of her revenues. On average, we take about 25% of the revenues of all the food and beverage and all the rides. And for her, we take less because it sits there and it only runs 24 days a year. But, you know, I've often said if you take the Texas Star out of Fair Park, there's no there there. It stays. So, yeah. So Midway, lots of things for everybody. After your one game, one ride, go find them. The Chevy main stage, we've got great music. We have 85 different acts. 77 of them are Texan. And we have 3 stages. All of this is in your ticket. Just be sure to check out the music. You know, a lot of this music I don't keep up with anymore, but we still try to bring some things in. Like Le Freak was big for a couple years, and there's a Motown act toward the end of the fair. There are things that are really fun, and my husband and I try not to miss them. Oh, did I miss one? Yeah, Big Tex Choice Awards. How could I miss the food? So these Choice Awards started in 2005, and I mean, to get that kind of PR off a statue with a Big Tex head stuck on the top has just been incredible. But you've probably seen that we've awarded the top 10, and there are 3 top award winners. Does anybody know what got Best Savory this year? It's on this chart. Deep fried pho. That's right. So talking about diversity, here you go. And how do you pronounce it? Pho. Pho, okay. Deep fried pho. The deep fried Biscoff is, it's a cheesecake with Biscoff. That got Best Sweet. So, oh, and let me back up. So if you're really a foodie, we're doing a ton of work on our directory. When you come in the park, go ahead and let them hand that piece of paper to you, that little booklet, because we've done a ton of work on QR codes and other things to help you find the food you want. College football's coming back. The Grambling Prairie View A&M game is the first Saturday. They've been playing in Dallas, Texas since 1925. Texas and OU, 1929. So they're both really important games and important games to the community. The Texas OU game still results in one of the top 5 numbers of room nights sold in Dallas, Texas every year. So that's why you can't get a hotel room. It's still big. So what's back and better than ever? We have new floats in the parade. Last year we introduced a brand new parade. The floats, this runs at 7:15 every night. The floats were created by the, a family, now I'm going to forget. It's probably on the sheet, but it's a family out of New Orleans that is the Mardi Gras float family, Kern Studio. But they did all of our floats, and they've done 2 new floats again for this year. 7:15, it's super fun. We have several other things. Home for the Holidays at Texas Discovery Gardens. No butterflies this year, Home for the Holidays. African American Museum has an exhibit in from South Africa, special for the fair. And more rodeo, 13 days of rodeo. Go check this out. Just rest your feet and enjoy the shenanigans, because it's shenanigans. Mundo Latino. If you've never been to this over in the former Women's Museum, after you see the dog show there in the heat, head in there for some air conditioning and really see some great vendors featuring Latin products. It's really cool. These guys, these crazy bouncy guys, they're in front of the Hall of State steps a couple times a day. They will make you laugh. They're so funny. It's not just for the little kids, but if you sit in the front row, you may get pulled in. Just careful. There's a fringe stage. This used to be called the Dr. Pepper stage over by the Cotton Bowl, and we call it the fringe stage. If you didn't see Mighty Mike on the fringe stage these last 3 years, you snooze, you lose. He did last year Guinness World Record by juggling 3 8-pound bowling balls for I don't know how long, but he beat the record. And I was there. But this year we've got 3 new acts because Mighty Mike is retired. And we've got 3 new acts, and these groups are taking us back to really kind of classic fair entertainment. Lots of contortionists, lots of jokes, and one of them is basically water balloon fight, and you just need to watch it. But the fringe stage is super fun. And I'd plan your visit around what's on the fringe stage, quite frankly. Soap Bubble Circus is for little kids, supposedly, but a lot of adults like it too. It's in an air-conditioned stage right there in the Creative Arts Building, right at the end. If you've never been there and you've got little kids, highly recommend. This is big. This is actually 57 feet tall, taller than Big Tex. We hired Kern Studio in New Orleans to create 10 life-size dinosaurs that roamed the state of Texas. We've taken that whole green space over at the lagoon, across the lagoon from the Cotton Bowl Plaza. There's the water feature, and on the other side, we have created the dinosaurs at the lagoon. So 10 life-size dinosaurs. We put lots of soft spaces, places to sit down and relax. There's a storyteller there, this Dr. Biggie Bones, and she will really tailor her stories that are at set times. It'll be in the program for kids 8 years and under. So always just this focus. You can see we're really focused on family-friendly all throughout the park, but really trying to make it a place where young people, young families feel really comfortable. Hall of State. Got any Red Raiders here? Any Red Raiders? Tricia. There you go. You paid your dues. You got it. Yeah, yeah. So it's their centennial this year, and they are celebrating it with a big exhibit in the Hall of State. And also our Texas Rangers, not the baseball team, if anybody was thinking that. The Texas Rangers are having their bicentennial, and there is an historic exhibit there that they have put together over the last year for you to enjoy. So, okay, that's what's at the State Fair this year. This is the big one. I have here a letter from, you can't see this, but it says, the most Texan place on earth. But I have a letter here that includes an honor guest pass. And an honor guest pass is our best pass to bring your family, bring your car with up to 6 people in it, park in our VIP parking area by Music Hall, walk in by the auto show, immediately up to Big Tex Circle to have your corny dog and your picture, and then enjoy the fair, all free. So, here's the question. Which famous cowboy and his trusty horse Topper entertained a huge Cotton Bowl crowd in 1952? Yes. Oh. Hopalong Cassidy it is. Nicely done. This is great for you. So, you know, all that to say, y'all, one more. There we go. I really appreciate you allowing me to come. Thank you for being the State Fair of Texas. You guys have made it what it is today, and I just want you to come this year, come enjoy the history, and be a part of what we do to give back to the community, and just have a bunch of fun. Thank you. Sorry, questions, of course, questions. Yes, sir.
Marie,
The Birds retired, the fellow who ran the Birds. I don't think we're going to have him this year, although I haven't read all the fine print of everything. The Marines are not coming. It got to be super expensive. It's way too hot to wear wool uniforms and stand at attention for them. They haven't complained, but we finally said, okay, we need to do something else. Oh. I have no idea what happened to his ashes. That's a great question. Yes. The question is, were the architectural buildings built for the Texas Centennial? The answer is yes. They were built in about 2.5 years, all of them, for the Texas Centennial, which was also a, quote, World's Fair. Yeah. He sang in where? Yes, her father sang at the band shell at the Texas Centennial. That's incredible. Yes, ma'am. You know, it was a bunch of ranchers and farmers who wanted to do what state fairs were set up to do, and there was a lot of commerce created because they were gathering there with their wares in the fall. Yeah. Yes? Will we go for longer than 3 weeks? I don't think so. We're the longest fair in the country now, and you know, just the amount we have a lease on the entirety of the park from August 1st through second week of November. It takes us that long to set up, and then it takes that long to take down. There are 150 events that occur or more during that window when we're not having a fair. But yeah, it's stamina, man. Isn't 24 Super Bowls big enough for you?
One more question.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, so last fall we all voted for something called the Brimer Bill, which will allow the city to issue over $300 million in bonds. Well, actually, let me back up. The Brimer Bill is to support, in part, the construction of a new convention center, and 20% of it is going to be allocated toward the Fair Park, the tourist-oriented functions at Fair Park. So it was approved by the voters. We won't be able, the city can't go out and issue all those bonds right up front. Interest rates have spiked since we've done that, and there needs to be a revenue source underneath it to get the bonds issued. So initially, the city is going to issue about $75 million of bonds to support Cotton Bowl improvements first. Then they're going to issue more bonds to support the music hall improvements, the band shell Coliseum gets some of it, the Centennial building gets some of it. I think I've mentioned 5. I think there's 6. I'm missing something. But initially, they're gonna start on the Cotton Bowl improvements, and just half of the Cotton Bowl improvements are going to get done over the next 2.5 years. The Cotton Bowl houses 93,000 people, and once you get them, getting them in is a challenge. Getting them waters during any kind of break is a challenge. Getting them out is a challenge. It took 45 minutes last week to get 70,000 people out of the Cotton Bowl at the end of the show. We need to expand those concourses. So we'll widen the footprint of the concourses coming out into Cotton Bowl Plaza for starters. We also need elevators that work. About 4 years ago, I'm standing outside 3 years ago, I'm standing outside the media entrance, the big Cotton Bowl entrance that the players come in and out of. And I'm standing there with some police officers and some other stuff, just watching all the commotion. The game has started. All of a sudden, this ladder truck comes onto the grounds. I mean, you know how hard it is to get a ladder truck? I'm like, what has gone on now? Well, it's not a fire, Gina. There are 14 people stuck on one of the elevators. Like, it's a 3-story elevator. Are you kidding me? They've got this ladder truck here. But anyway, we got to fix that. The stuff's ancient. We flew all over the country that year to get the part to fix those elevators, and then somebody overloaded one, and there they were. So it's ancient stuff.
Well, Gina, thank you so much for speaking
Thank
today. And in honor of your speaking, a book will be placed at McShann Elementary. You're speaking today. You're welcome. And so also for our guest today, just if you have interest, and we'd love to have you have an interest, information about the club and what it takes to become a member and such. And then next week, we have Jen Zeitz with the Center for Brain Health coming to speak, and she'll have a program discussing this. And now the four-way test, Sean Foster.
Please stand and join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it true? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
It took forever.